Doctors weren't always sued for mistakes. Something changed in the 1960s that made litigation inevitable. Before 1900, the concept of suing a doctor for malpractice barely existed in most Western countries. Physicians operated under an assumption that bordered on sacred. Their judgment was their own, their mistakes were acts of God, and patients had almost no legal recourse. The reason wasn't kindness, it was power. Doctors controlled the narrative entirely. The first cracks appeared around 1910. Courts in England and America began recognizing that negligence, a legal concept already well established in other professions, applied to medicine too. A surgeon who amputated the wrong limb, a physician who prescribed poison by mistake. These weren't divine punishment, they were actionable breaches of a duty of care. But lawsuits remained rare. Hospitals didn't advertise malpractice insurance because there was almost no market for it. Doctors paid settlements out of pocket when forced to. Most claims never reached trial. The medical profession maintained its wall. Patients didn't know their rights yet, neither did most lawyers. March 1943. The first organized malpractice insurance policy was issued in the United States, not because litigation had exploded, it hadn't, but because hospitals and insurers saw the pattern forming. If lawsuits were legally possible, they would eventually become legally probable. Insurance companies were betting on a future nobody could yet prove would happen. The market remained small through the 1950s. A handful of insurers offered coverage. Premiums were low because claims were low. Doctors viewed malpractice insurance as a formality, like liability coverage for a shopkeeper. They had no idea what was about to happen. The 1960s changed everything. Medical knowledge exploded, surgeries became more complex, medications multiplied, patients gained access to information through television, magazines, and education. Simultaneously, the civil rights movement shifted cultural attitudes toward authority. Doctors were no longer untouchable. Lawyers began actively recruiting malpractice clients. By 1970, malpractice litigation had become routine. Jury awards grew. Insurance companies that had calculated low premiums suddenly faced unexpected losses. The first crisis hit. Insurers began pulling out of the market entirely. Doctors in some states couldn't find coverage at any price. This forced a restructuring. Doctors' professional organizations created their own insurance pools. States implemented damage caps and shortened filing windows. Insurance companies developed actuarial models to predict claims based on specialty, location, and claims history. Malpractice insurance became a permanent, expensive fixture of medical practice. By 2000, the industry had matured. Premiums varied wildly. A primary care physician might pay $2,000 annually. An obstetrician might pay $200,000. These weren't arbitrary numbers. They reflected decades of claims data, litigation patterns, and state-by-state legal environments. The market had learned to price risk with precision. Today, professional liability insurance is a $60 billion global industry. It exists because of a simple economic truth. The moment a legal system allows liability, risk becomes calculable, and calculable risk becomes insurable. Doctors didn't invent malpractice insurance to protect patients. They created it because the legal system made it necessary. The mechanism is transparent once you see it. Liability creates demand for insurance. Insurance requires pricing. Pricing requires data. Data reveals patterns. Patterns become policy. What started as a gap between what doctors could do and what courts would hold them accountable for became a market worth billions. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not financial advice. Always do your own research. Subscribe for weekly deep dives into the hidden economics of insurance, warranties, and fees, the systems that shape your costs without your knowing. There's always another layer beneath. Subscribe for weekly deep dives into the hidden economics of insurance, warranties, and fees, the systems that shape your costs without your knowing. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not financial advice. Always do your own research.